News coming in from Washington, D.C. Former Vice President Mike Pence has officially asked a judge to block the subpoena issued by Special Counsel Jack Smith, compelling Pence to testify before a grand jury investigating the attempt by Trump and his allies to overturn the 2020 election. Mike Pence had already announced that he would be fighting this subpoena, but with the recent filing, it is official. He's now asking the judge to block it. Most interesting about this filing is the angle that the Pence team is taking to fight the subpoena. Pence is stating that because he's also the president of the Senate, as you know, the vice president of the United States is also by fiat provisions of the Constitution, is also president of the Senate. Well, that role as president of the Senate makes him a member of the legislative team, according to Pence's filing, and therefore sort of insulates him from Jack Smith's order through what's known as the speech and debate clause of the Constitution, which protects all lawmakers essentially from being summoned by the executive. So what Pence is saying is, I'm not just vice president of the United States, I'm also president of the Senate, and therefore the speech and debate clause applies to me, and therefore I cannot be compelled to testify. Now, you'll remember that Trump also filed a motion just a few weeks ago to block the president's subpoena, but this is Pence's independent motion. Now, do I think that that angle will sort of stick with the court, that the judges will agree with Pence that he's insulated from having to testify? I think that's an unlikely scenario for three reasons. Number one, the role of vice president as president of the Senate is a role that is primarily ceremonial in nature. You'll remember that Pence himself had told Trump that he had no power whatsoever in trying to overthrow the results of the election. The role used to be a more formal role at the beginning when the Constitution was in its early years, but has since become primarily ceremonial. Number two, even those powers that are accorded to Pence by the Constitution are powers that are very limited and very specific, especially now. And number three, the idea of the speech and debate clause protecting legislators is an idea that is meant to protect legislators themselves and not a non-elected official within the legislative branch, as Pence, as the president of the Senate, would be. I think this is primarily designed to delay the process. It's a technique that we've seen before. Pence himself said he will take this all the way to the Supreme Court. We'll have to see what happens.